What's going on, champs and chambits? It's FireMonkey here, and Epic Games has actually lied to you in two different ways with the V26.10 update. Now, I want to mention right away, with the start of this video, that even though I'm saying Epic Games lied to you, because technically they did, I'm not mad at the company, right? I'm not mad at Epic Games, like, how dare they lie to us? I can't believe this, my heart's broken, I'll never recover. But I mean it in a way where it's like, hey, hopefully by mentioning this type of stuff, these type of issues don't happen in the future, and with one of the things that is still not even enabled in the game despite Epic Games saying it was, they can go ahead and enable it using stuff like this video to help them remember that it actually is disabled right now. So firstly, let's talk about an item that got disabled that was actually incorrectly mentioned as a completely another item. As you guys know, the pizza party item has been added to the game with the update and everything else. It's been revamped and everything to give different types of health gains and everything else, but with it they said that they were going to be removing slap splashes. Now of course, hey, look at that, we got pizza party right here. Of course the pizza party item is really good for restoring shield, because while it only gives 5 HP, it does give you 30 shield per bite you take. They mentioned that splashes are going to be completely vaulted from the game, and that, was an interesting little thing to see, because, if I had to be completely honest, while I love the pizza party, right, while I love the pizza party item, while I think it is a really nice item to have in the game, it's one of those items where at the same time, I'm like, would I really want this to replace a actual beneficial, shield item? Nah, I would like to have both of them enabled in the game. But Epic Games was like, yep, since this item's releasing, we're going to be vaulting slap splashes. Now, if you played the game any since the most recent update, you may notice that slap splashes are still enabled in the game, despite Epic Games telling you, hey, yeah, these have been vaulted. The reason why is because Epic Games actually made a mistake. What they meant to say was slap juice was vaulted, so you won't find the individual slap bottles, the ones that you can kind of run around with. You can only find the splash variant of the slap items, meaning that, while we have these right here, slap splashes, the ordinary, single bottle juice variants of those can no longer be found in the game. Now that one isn't as crazy of, an Epic Games lied to you situation, because it is kind of just like, oh, they said the wrong item was vaulted. That is not the end of the world. However, one of the things that has been kind of, a weird oddity to see being a situation where Epic Games has lied to us, all relates to an augment that you can view in-game right now. So if we go ahead and loot these chests up real quick, you guys may notice that we have the Piper Pace questline right now for Snapshot, and it all relates to like pizza, right? It's like, oh, go around here, collect these items, deliver it to this location, find a pizza party. It's one of the actual things, and while you can get lucky and find them a lot, like we're finding in basically every chest, there is an augment that's supposed to help you actually get the pizza party item. So if we go ahead and go over here to the augment menu, and we go over to the not mobility tab, but we go over to the looting tab, we have the game time augment, which grants a pizza party and some chug splashes. This shows up in the augment menu, right? It should be something you're able to use in game right now. They even mentioned in the blog post that the game time augment was going to be enabled for you to use. However, despite all of that information, it is not enabled right now. It is completely disabled, and the reason why is because in the hotfix data, while you can still see the game time augment in game, they actually have it set up so that you actually can't select it, because it has a weight of 0, and how the whole entire weight system works is the lower the weight, the rarer the item actually is, and if it has a weight of 0, it is impossible to get in game. Even if you can see it in your menu, it is physically impossible to actually re-roll augments. You could spend 5,000 bars and you wouldn't even get that augment a single time, just because it has the weight of 0, meaning that in terms of all the augments it can select, it will absolutely never select that one augment. They typically do that to augments that they plan to enable later in the game's update, later through hotfixes and everything else, which they do have set up for around 3 augments right now, being some returning augments and 1 new augment. But it appears that for some reason we're just having this odd situation where it's like, oh hey, we are announcing this item, we're announcing this augment, all that type of stuff, and even though we've announced this augment returning to the game and everything, we're going to accidentally forget to enable it. They've half enabled it in a way, right? Because they had to make sure that the hotfix and everything was set up properly, so that you would be able to actually see it in your augment selector, but they didn't enable it in the part where you're actually able to select the augment due to a hotfix that was in place. And my theory on why this might have happened is because I think that since they're trying to have it so these type of augments are disabled in competitive modes like tournaments and everything else, they accidentally thought that this hotfix was only for tournaments, and they didn't think to check if it was for the core game mode as well, meaning that the augment's just kind of completely disabled right now. That is my personal theory, but yeah, yeah, Epic Games kinda lied to you guys. Firstly by saying that an item was vaulted when they accidentally vaulted the wrong item, and then, you know, they had to update it and be like, hey, we actually meant to vault this thing instead. And then secondly by telling you guys and visually showing that if we look in the augment menu again, there is an augment available for you that you can get in game. However, you're completely unable to get it, right? And when I made my tweet about it, right, I didn't think too much of it at first. I was just like, oh yeah, you know, this augment's currently unavailable, even though Epic Games says it's available. People are like kind of upset because they're like, I spent 1,500 bars, or I spent blah 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 bars trying to get this augment in the game, because, you know, some people just like the pizza party item, maybe they want the chug splashes, whatever the reason. People had tried actually going about obtaining them, and instead they just kind of were heartbroken to find out, oh no, I can't actually obtain this augment, because even though it's advertised, even though it was mentioned in the blog post and everything, it's not actually enabled in game. Now, I'm hoping, you know, based on this video and based on the actual Twitter post I made the other day regarding the augment being disabled, Epic Games can re-enable it, because it is a pretty easy hotfix. They already have the data normally in the files, meaning that if they remove the line that is in the actual hotfix data and everything else, the augment would be working perfectly fine. It would be a common rarity augment, meaning that all of us would be able to find it very quickly and very easily when re-rolling our bars. It is not as rare as some of the other augments in the game. Like, if we look at the augments we have, it's not as rare as Scope Salvo or any of those newer type of augments that, you know, are kind of, you know, ones you have to keep re-rolling upon re-rolling upon re-rolling to getting. It would be one that you would find a lot more often, similar to, you know, the other augments in the game that's like, Phil's, you have to see every other re-roll in the game, right? It's like, oh, here it is again, here it is again, and here it is again. It's one of the ones you just tune out because, you know, it's so obvious that it's right there all the time, but you don't want that augment, right? It's one of those. It's one of the ones that will show up constantly in the game, and all it requires them to do is remove one line from the files. So yeah, you know, that's something to keep your eyes out for in the future, is a little bit of a hotfix patch update or whatever else you want to call it, where an item that was technically supposed to be enabled this entire time actually gets enabled for us to use it. And once it is enabled, it will make those quest lines, such as, you know, the whole entire Piper Pace quest line, a lot easier, because you're not going to be running around trying to find the bars or whatever for, you know, buying the pizza party item from Piper. You won't have to try finding it from a chest or anything. You'll just be able to simply get it from the game normally and enjoy it like every other item in the game, right? You'll be able to get it through augments and everything, just giving another source on how to obtain pizzas in Fortnite. With that said, however, hope you champs and chambettes enjoyed today's YouTube video. If you did, consider subscribing and support the content I create, and I will catch you guys next time with another upload. Peace out.